Oh, great.
All right. Hello, everyone. We are live today. I'm here with Anna Reeves, Anna Love, and we are going to be talking about how to heal your self worth so that you can attract all of the things that you desire in your heart. So I'm just going to tag her real quick. If you give us a second. And if you are here with us, say hi. And if you are watching the replay, hashtag replay.
I love it. Thank you. This is so fun to be here with you. You are my new bestie. I was saying it somewhere else too, that we are just alive and ready to talk about all the things. And let me just add to, all right, I think we're both on now. So
Awesome.
I'll
Yes. So,
start.
yeah, Anna, please do. Please
I'm
tell
gonna
us all you do.
introduce who I am, and then Morgan will introduce who she is, and then we'll get into talking about healing self-worth to attract all that you desire in your life. And I am Anna Love, and I have dubbed myself Love because love is really the beginning of where everything starts, and it's where your freedom is. And you don't have to look outside of yourself for love, it's right here. So I'm Anna Love. I am your subconscious freedom specialist, meaning that I will help you uncover things that you don't even know are there. They are back somewhere. Someone programmed you back in the past, and those patterns and those habits are showing up for you right now in your reality. So if you're saying, I don't like something in my reality, we have to look at how you are participating in your reality from subconscious programming. So that's what I do.
But
And
Anna, I love all of that. Like, that's so juicy, just reminding people, like, hey, you participate in this. For everyone who is new to me or has never seen me on video before, my name is Morgan Danielle. I'm a love and relationship coach. I specialize in helping women break the toxic relationship cycle and attract the most epic love affair of their life. And so we wanted to come on and talk about how we see unworthiness show up either in our lives previously before we've done this work and with our clients. So Anna, can you tell us like some of the ways that you had unworthiness show up for you and kind of like a common thread you see with your clients?
yeah, it does start with self-worth and self-love. And I know that is so cliche. And I've been told by many, I don't know about you, but I've been told by many coaches, don't talk about self-love because people don't want to buy self-love. They don't want to heal self-love. But guys, it's self-love, right? And it is what it is. And what that actually means, though, is that you are not valuing you, but you're valuing other people over you. So, all through life, this can show up for you where you are not speaking your truth. You are not shining your brightness and your magic because I am unique. Morgan is unique. Y'all are unique. And we get to shine. We don't have to compete with each other. We don't have to have self-judgment that says, I'm not good enough, but it's what we do. And it's something that, especially as women, we've learned to do that. We've watched other women do that and model that. And it becomes second nature. Okay. So people pleasing, having low confidence, all creates my personality. And for, I don't know, 40 something years, I walked around on this planet basically not claiming who I was because I was afraid to be me. It was, and my dog agrees, I was afraid to be me because I was worried about, I was doing that thing where my perception of myself, my judgment of I have to be perfect, I was putting it out onto the world. And then I was pointing at the world and going, they're judging me. And it was like this thing, this loop that kept happening where I felt like I was a victim and nobody liked me, right? And I think that you resonate with that. A lot of women resonate with that. And at some point we have to come out of the fog and we have to say, let's cut this BS because it is BS, right? How about you?
Oh, I thought that was so amazing because it's like when people think about self love, they think that it comes down to bubble baths, journaling, meditation, spa appointments, all those things. And that is a form of self love. But there's also deeper components to it, like recognizing when you're beating yourself up, speaking kindly to yourself, walking away from red flags, being able to
Mm.
speak up for what you want and what you need, and also accepting and loving all parts of yourself, not the parts of yourself that are, perfect and, curated, but also the messy parts. I actually made a post about that today, how in my past relationship before I met my now fiance, I felt like I had to be perfect. And there were all these parts of me that I wanted to hide away because I thought they were unlovable. So, of course, I attracted somebody that mirrored back to me that I could only be loved when I wasn't angry or when I was in a good mood or whatever the case was. And it wasn't until he cheated on me that I recognized, where I still had that work to do and where I was abandoning myself. And so, that is really the foundation for being able to have what you want in life. Sure, you can manifest and, push yourself in your career or try to force relationships, but it's always going to either feel horrible, it will burn you out, it will put you in really bad positions where it's not for your highest good. You'll attract men who don't value you, or you have to be the mother in the relationship, whichever way it goes. If you are not tapped into your self love, the way that you love yourself, showing up in a way that honors who you are and what you want in all parts of yourself, then it's going to be misalignment all over the place and it's going to be pretty painful, right?
Mhm. It really is. You nailed so many, you just got it right there. Ding, 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 ding. And for those of you who are listening, if you're saying, okay, I get it, but I don't know what to do about it. We're here to tell you it starts from in here. It starts from the thoughts that you're thinking and how they vibrate through your body. So if you look at the mirror or you look out at other women and you start judging and saying, well, I can't be like them, or I'm not good enough. That thought alone, you can actually change it, right? Because that voice isn't you. And I talk a lot about this voice because we think that this voice is some true, it's God speaking to us. No, it's tied to an old belief that is limiting you. It is zapping your power. And we have to look at, why did I just say that? Like, call yourself out and go, why did I just say that? Where did that come from? Who said that? And you might hear something like, I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to be visible because I was hearing my family go, visit people who talk about themselves. They think they're better than other people. People who charge a lot or have a lot of money, they are snobby. So even though that voice wasn't in my head, it was in my body, it was in my programming. And so that's one of the things that I'm going to toss this back to you like a beach ball. Like, what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I think that our programming, a lot of the times it's so present in our minds and just in our subconscious that we don't even question it, right? So we have this thought of, oh, she's better than me, she has better this than me, or I must be bad because XYZ, or I'm not good enough because I feel this way. And we don't even question it a lot of the time because it's just on autopilot. And so I struggled with depression and anxiety and toxic relationships for 13 years of my life, and I had on autopilot all of these thoughts that were keeping me in the same spot, right? So I was thinking how everyone was essentially out to get me, how men always used me, how I always got cheated on, how nobody ever, looked at me like I mattered or anything like that. And so I became a victim, just as you said, I became a victim to my life and my circumstances. And it wasn't until I actually started taking an inventory on what the fuck I was thinking that really showed me, like, oh my gosh, it makes so much sense. And so little by little, I'd say, is this thought really true? Is it true that I'm not good enough? Is it true that my anger makes me unlovable? Is it true that, men are to blame for X, Y, Z? Is it true? And I would have to say, well, no, because, and I was always kind of an investigative person. And so I would look to my friends' relationships, my siblings' relationships, and I'm like, what is it that these people are doing that is different from me? Because they're getting different results. And so that must mean that everybody is not like this, right?
Mhm.
And so it really took a lot of discipline to sit with myself and change these thoughts every time they came up. And we have to be willing to do that. We have to be willing to slow down, to take the time to do it, because of course it's so much easier to just recognize and be like, oh yeah, there it is again. But to really sit with it and say, well, what do I want to believe instead? Can I reach for this next thought that feels even better than this one?
Mhm.
And that was how I healed a lot of my, that was how I started to heal my depression and my codependency, because of course there's that other component of what are your actions, right?
Right.
And so what do you feel when you think about your relationship with your self-worth and your self-love, and the common thread among your clients? What were some of the actions that you have either done or you've seen that shows up as a lack of self-worth?
So, how do people show up as a lack of self-worth, if that's what you're asking, or what did I do to heal that?
How have you seen it show up? Like, what actions do you
Yeah.
see people take that shows that there's a lack of self-worth?
Staying in an abusive relationship,
Mhm.
that's a big one. And how about going to I've had women, 40s, 50s years old, going to work and then not being able to talk about, like, hey, I'm the one who created that idea, but you're giving the accolades to my colleague over here. And once I worked with people about what's really going on underneath that, we cleared out anger. So they were being one way at work, going home and feeling resentful and pissed off, which is anger, but then never really doing anything about it, going to work the next day, and then all of a sudden they're having breakdowns in their body, or they're feeling overwhelmed and they feel like a pressure cooker. And then I had a client one day who was like, I called out of work today. Can we have an emergency session? And then luckily I was available and we cleared out some shit. And she was like, whoa, I feel different. Like, I'm ready to go. Like, let's go. Because once you clear out what's underneath all of that, all those, that's like guck, it's that old programming, and it can show up in all the ways that we see out there when we're interacting with people. If you see that people are foggy headed, or they're just speaking in a low voice, or you have a feeling like this person isn't speaking their truth, it's not our business to come tell them about it, but this is how they're showing up in the world. And how you do one thing is how you do everything. So these are the things people would come to me, and it's really about communication was one of the, bottom line. Like, how am I communicating with my partner, people at work? Or really, those are the two big ones. And that's why what we're doing here together is so big, because it's about relating with other people, but you have to relate with yourself. If you can't look at yourself in the mirror and love yourself, what you see back, you've already you're screwing things up from right from there, right? You're ruining your chances of being able to relate with somebody else authentically if you can't relate with yourself authentically.
Oh, I love that you said that so much, because what I always tell my clients is like, you can only go as deep with somebody as you can go with yourself. And so if you're avoiding parts of yourself, if you are not owning all of who you are, then how on earth can somebody fall in love with you? I had a call with somebody yesterday, and she was telling me about all these self-development programs that she's been in, and I was like, listen, I love that you've been in personal development. However, I believe that you're using that as a band-aid because you're scared of what's underneath. And she was like, I have no idea who I am. And I was like, that's of course that you would have the experiences where you're not being able to have dates with men, you're not being able to get into relationship, because how can somebody fall in love with you if they have no idea who you are, because you have no idea who you are and you don't know how to present that, right? And so I told her, I was like, you're always going to be keeping people at arm's length until you start getting in touch with yourself. Who
Mhm.
am I at my core? Who am I when I am showing up authentically? What do I want to talk about? Who do I want to be? And this doesn't mean that like you don't strive to be better. It just means that you are loving who you are now while continuing to better your life and continuing to heal and show up as the best version of yourself, right? We don't want to use self development as a band aid, because I do see that a lot with the women that I work with is they use self-development as a band-aid instead of allowing people to see who they are. They're like, look at all the things that I've done. Look
Mhm.
at all the gratitude lists that I do. Look at all these things that I've done here. And it can be really performative. So it's like the intention behind what we do, is it out of love and care for ourselves?
Yeah.
Or is it out of performance to get accepted and to earn that love, right?
Oh my gosh, you just struck up some dating advice I'd like to give here. And I'm in a relationship now. We're coming up on 2 years, and I had this, epiphany of like, I'm gonna show up authentically from moment one on my call and my, even in my texting and in our talks. And then on our first date, I was like, I'm going to invite this guy to go do some hot vinyasa yoga with me. And we're going to see how he shows up. We're going to see, because it's awkward as shit, right? To go and do something like that.
Amazing.
And so he showed up, I showed up, and just that vulnerability. And we found each other. We're like true soulmates. Like we are like the twin flame people. When we saw each other through the glass of the gym, I was walking in, he saw me. It was like, right? It was just like, this is it. And then that date just was like a 24-hour date. And then here we are 2 years later. But had I not done that, it could have been, right? Like all of this, like you have to drop the facade. You have to, like, I've eaten chicken wings on a first date, right? Like, who cares? Like, be you, right? And I'm not saying like, be gross and like belch and whatnot. Like, we're not going to do stuff like that, but be the most authentic, fun-free version of you because if we're talking relationships, guys want that. They want to feel free too. They don't want to have to feel like they're all buttoned up and they can't be themselves. And everything is energy. So when you start dropping the facade, when you do that inner work and you let go of the things that you may not even know are there, right? What's holding you back? What's holding your voice down? What's holding you from shining? When you let go of all that, you really start to release and it's like the floodgates open.
Yeah, and I love, okay, so one thing that really stuck out to me that you said, you were like, show up as yourself, like don't be gross and belching and all the things on a first date. But what I see with my clients sometimes is like when I say be yourself, it doesn't mean be reactive and judgmental and controlling and all the things, right? Because they're like, well, if I just show up myself, then I'm going to be overgiving and overdoing and all these things. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not you, right? That those are the coping mechanisms that you
Yes.
you know armored your
Implement.
heart
Yeah.
to survive in childhood. And so
Oh,
when it talks about being yourself, it's the version of you that is regulated and healthy and coming home to yourself. So that doesn't mean you are engaging in your toxic behavior and you're just like, yeah, somebody should just accept me for who I am with all this toxic behavior. That's not what we're saying at all by any means. It's we have to clean up our toxic behavior, but what is our heart like? Let's
mhm.
share our heart with these people without all of the trauma that's causing us to do all these weird things like overgive, overdo,
Yes.
perform, be reactive, and all the things. So that's really what that reminded me of. Like when you said that, it's like, yes, be yourself, but that's not a permission slip to hurt somebody else because you haven't healed your stuff, right?
Love that. Yeah, it's huge that, if you could take one action today, it would be just get out a pad of paper or your notes on your phone and start writing down when you notice that you're doing these things, whether it's negativity, whether it's judgment, whether it's self-criticism, your inner critic is talking to you every single time you notice is the first step. So I think what you're saying is when you're on the date, like there was a time where I didn't know how to act. Like I got out of a very abusive 8-year relationship that I was in from 16 to 24, and I didn't know how to be. I didn't know who I was, right? So what would I tell that version of me now if I had met her, if I could meet her? And I know there's women out there that are doing this and it wasn't just me. I'm not the only one out of 8 million people, right? if I could talk to, right, these are our clients and these are the people that we're getting our message to. If we could talk to you and just say, just start noticing what comes up. Like, is it, right, this fear or this self-judgment? And how am I, like you said, being toxic about it? And
Yeah.
notice that, and then go home and sit with it and just say, what could I do instead? Or where is this coming from? Is there an insecurity, or is there something I need to tell myself that's true? Because all insecurity is a bunch of lies that
Yeah.
you're believing. So
Yeah.
let's reverse that. And like you said, is that true? It, no, it's most of the time it's not true. It's not 100% true. So start
Yeah.
rewriting the narrative for yourself. And by the way, you can create, this is what we're talking about here. Create the version of you that you want to be. And I have these oracle cards that I actually created myself. And for the 2 days in a row, I've pulled the same freaking card. Guess what it says? Act as if you already are the woman you want to become.
I love
You-
that.
It's that simple. Be her, right? And if you're like, well, I don't know who that is, well, what feels good? What feels good in your body?
Yes, I love that you said that because it's like when you don't know how to act or what to do. And, for those of us who have struggled with codependency and we were shut down in abusive relationships where our identity was basically, stripped, that's the very first question we have to ask ourselves is, what would feel good to me? What would feel good in my body? And so when we're thinking about like, who do I have to become in order to have what I want? It's who am I? What do I enjoy? What feels good to me? If I was not insecure, if I was not self conscious, how would I show up? And you start asking yourself those questions. And if you don't know, then that's just something that's information that you just take with you, right? And so when it comes to building your worth, this is actually something that I'm working on my 13-year-old daughter with at the moment, too, as well as, of course, all of my clients. But when it comes to self-worth, it's about what you bring to the table without having to do anything for anyone else. So it's literally just who you are, right? And so what qualities do you possess that brings value to the world without you having to do anything, right? Because some people will say, well, I do this for people and I help them with this. And I'm like, no, 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 but wait. It's about who you are without having to do anything. So my one client, this is what she's been working on. And she's like, well, I'm a very caring person. And I was like, do you know how amazing it is that you're a caring person, that you genuinely care about other people? Because there's a lot of people out there that simply just struggle to care about other
Yeah,
people's feelings, right? And then they're saying, well, okay, I'm funny, but a lot of people are funny. And it's like, yes, but nobody has your unique flavor of that humor. And so it's really
right.
looking at all of the things that come so naturally to you that you don't even think they're magical. That is your essence. And when you start to recognize, oh, I have a lot of these really great qualities about myself that I never really, that I took for granted
Mhm.
because they came so easily to me that they took for granted. I have one client who she is excellent at putting outfits together. And that just comes naturally to her. She's so good at it. And I'm like, do you understand how hard it is for me to put outfits together? And you didn't even think that was special? Are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
and especially in your relationships, like, if you're showing up and you're really great at putting outfits together and you own that and you feel like that's really special, you're going to attract somebody who really, really loves that about you, right? And it's not something that you're doing out of a performative nature. It's something that you do because it feels good to do that. And then they see that and they see how much you value that within yourself and they value that as well.
Yes, you create your own standards. That's really big. And that's what I'm hearing you say is that when you set the bar here by saying, here's what I know about me, and here's, I recognize my gold and my value.
Yeah.
Value is self-worth. Bring it up, right? Just raise it up, increase it. It's like anything that we're doing, there's dials. I'm doing this because I'm turning up dials. Like you're turning up your own energy. And when you do that, you start to magnetize in somebody on that. I mean, that's why we're friends. We vibrated at this frequency of self-worth, right? Had I met you years ago, I don't know that that would have been the case, right? Or that we would even have been in the same room together.
1000%. Absolutely. And the level in which you love yourself is the level in which you will be loved by someone else, right? And so that doesn't mean that we're perfect. It just means that we're willing, right? Because our willingness is honestly, it does about 50% of the work, right? And so as long as we're just saying, I'm willing to believe I'm valuable. I'm willing to look at the value that I bring into the world. I'm willing to change my behavior. I'm willing to put down the codependency. I'm willing to start valuing, what I bring to the table. All that willingness, it helps, you surrender, and then the universe has the green light to start bringing in things that reflect that,
That,
right?
that's the ticket right there, is when you just said it. When you take the first step, you then, I mean, doors were closed my whole life, and I would go, why me? Why me? Right? And then I started going where it was really uncomfortable, and where I had been avoiding going, and I started doing different things. And once I did, the universe is like, "Oh, I'm going to give you more of that." And then doors started opening, and now doors are opening all the time for me. Right? Whether it's, bringing in the right partner, bringing in the right, friendship, whatever it is, it's all there for you already. It's yours. Are you brave enough to grab it? Are you brave enough to invite it in? Are you brave enough to receive it? Right?
Mhm.
That's the thing. And when we've been in toxic relationships, and starting from our family, or even like you said, like getting in with a relationship of a partnership, we learn to close that down and not receive. We try to do, and we tried instead of being. And really the healing that we're teaching you right now is be the vibrant you and receive in all of the fruits of your labor, of the courage and the braveness of what that brings.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to note too that it's like, if we, that part of that self love and the self worth is we can say all the nice things to ourselves in the world. We can talk in the mirror. We can recognize all that we bring to the table. But if we're still participating in certain patterns with our actions, then we're going to continue the self abandonment pattern, and it will feel like you're fighting this uphill battle where you're like, well, I'm doing the things, I'm doing the meditations, I'm doing the affirmations, but I'm still attracting, these toxic men in my life. And I say, it's like, yeah, but you're not changing the behavior that goes along with it, right? So every time you feel that something's off, your intuition is saying, no, don't do this, and you do it anyway. That's self-abandonment. And so no matter if you say I'm valuable and I matter and I'm calling in the most epic love affair of my life, if you are still giving into red flags, or you are being intimate before you're ready, or you're
Mm.
saying that you just want something casual to not scare somebody off, it's really just not, there's the trifecta there of the thoughts, the feelings, the energetics, but also the behaviors. And our behaviors are really a huge piece, because if we are saying that we want something, but then doing something that does not reflect that or is not congruent with it, it still will not show up. And I
You
had a very hard time with that. Oh my God, you guys should see my journals from all the years. I was like, I'm manifesting the man of my dreams tomorrow. But then I'd still be like hooking up with somebody who doesn't want a relationship. And I'd spend all my time on the phone with somebody who already said that they didn't want to be with me. And it's like those two things do not go together.
Wow, you are an amazing coach, and that is freaking gold what you just said, because we're taught so many different things, do affirmations, say this, say that, but if you are not walking your talk or talking your walk or whatever the saying is, if you're not doing the thing, you don't have integrity with yourself. right? And that's exactly what you're saying is you have to be that embodiment of what you want to write it down. That's step one, but
Yeah.
you must feel it as if you are already being it. And I used to do the same thing. And I would go, well, I'm keeping this, I really want a partnership, and I'm going to keep it open, but I'm going to go over here and I'm going to have all of these other friendships with benefits. Why not? Why deprive myself of fun? And I realized, I was like, wait, this is getting old and it's not working. What do I need to change here? And I was like, let's just take a little risk here and shut down these over here. And then the minute I did, what do you think happened?
Whereas everything started to flow, the synchronicities came in, your man came in. So it's when we're willing to do the scary thing, because a lot of us just aren't willing to have that void of letting
Mhm.
go of the pattern to have the thing that we want. We're
Mhm.
scared of that void because what happens in that void? And I can say from personal experience, it was like the moment that I decided that I was no longer available for toxic relationships, men who were not serious about me. I
Mhm.
spent a lot of nights crying on my bathroom floor, having to sit in my loneliness, having to face myself, having to, look at all the things that I was avoiding through men, drugs, alcohol, all the things. But I found myself there. And if we can just feel those feelings and allow it to shape us and come home to ourselves, then we will 1,000% reap the benefits. There's no way that you won't. It's just we're scared of when is the thing going to happen. And we can't know that. We just have to trust and have our faith.
That's right. And I will say when you said that, there may be some women thinking about, well, I feel bad about the way that I've behaved. And, we also need to give ourselves forgiveness and grace about that, right? I have a 50 years where I could go back and give myself bad reviews on things that I've said or done to myself, right? And it's not about that. It's about, okay, we only have the present moment, right? And this present moment will create the next moment and then this one will go away. And we can't change that. The only thing we can change is what we're doing right now. And it starts with alignment with what we're saying, thinking, alignment with what we're saying, alignment with what we're feeling and how we're being. And I really think when you line all of that up and get very true about what do I want? What do I really, really want? And am I brave enough to say it? Then we start to put those messages out into the world. And really, I think that's the essence of what we do for our clients and getting us out of those self-sabotaging behaviors, right? And the vices that we were using and the procrastination and the stalling. And we have to look at ourselves. Look at ourselves. Stop looking at everybody else for the answer.
Right. And that can be scary as shit, but we're okay with that. And I love that you said be willing to say what you want. So I want to tell you guys a quick story. I was on the phone with a client yesterday and we've been practicing her truly valuing herself, realizing that she deserves love, happiness, joy, peace, and to have what she wants. Right. And so one of the things she kept saying to herself was, I deserve help. I need help with my yard. And she was burning herself trying to do it all. She actually manifested a year of free yard work from a company literally within a week of saying, I deserve help, because she was just saying that to herself. She wasn't even saying it to me. She was like, I deserve help. And she manifested an entire year. And so they already came and did one yard treatment thing. And then they also built her a little fire pit, and so, without her even asking. And so I was like, this is the beauty of not only you saying what you desire, but also believing that you do deserve love, even if you're not fully convinced yet. You're willing to believe that, this stuff can start happening. And then there was another thing that you mentioned about like the things that you say now matter, right? And I like to think of that as like planting seeds, right? So the things that we're thinking now, we're going to plant the seeds for tomorrow, for next week, for next month. And so we have to be really conscious of what seeds we're planting. Is your complaint about men, about money, about whatever it is going to be worth it to your future? Is it worth it? And so just having that conscious effort of, okay, if I know that what I say and what I think and I feel in this moment is going to determine something that happens in the future, I'm going to sure as hell make sure it's something that I want to experience.
Your words are spells, right? So when you speak, right? And when I do hypnotherapy and I use my little, sometimes I'm like, I have a magic wand. What do you want? Abracadabra. That means the creation of what it is that you want. And you are actually doing it, whether you believe it or not, whether you are aware of it or not, everything you say, you are now creating. And so why
Ooh.
not just start creating exactly what we want?
We make it sound so simple, right? Like, it's simple, it's not easy.
Well,
It'll be
that's
easier
why
over
we're here.
time. That's why we're here. And if you guys resonate with us, then DM us.
Yeah.
Let us know what questions you have. Let us know what resonated with you. Is there anything that you want to leave us off with, Anna?
I mean, I would say jump into our free Facebook groups. That is like the best place to be because you are going to get surrounded with love. I just finished up a little mini course on confidence. You're going to get gems. If you're not ready to do the deep inner work and you just want to tiptoe or wade in the pool, then jump into our Facebook groups and then you will start to, just by being in the presence of other women who are raising each other up, you are going to start being that. And just giving yourself that love and courage and not beating yourself up if you make a mistake or you realize like you just did something that you're shameful of, just let that shit go. Yeah.
Should go. I love that. And truly being in a space where there are other people who are working towards a better life, better relationships, better financial situations, it will change your life, your perspective, your energy. So we will drop both of our free Facebook groups in the comments, and then you guys can come join them. Anna, it has been just such a pleasure as always. I was just on Anna's podcast too. I think that was what, last week or 2 weeks ago. I'll also put that link in the comments so that you guys can listen to it. But Anna, you are just such a divine person.
Thank you, my beautiful. And we are together. So we are a testament of what's possible. And I just love that what we're co-creating here, right? This energy is just so vibrating. Love you. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you all later.
Gotta get off here somehow.